Man, yeah, niggas always ask me this, like what the women are like outside the country. For me, I left the country like about a year and a half ago. I'm from the United States, traveled to a couple countries, and I mean, even from the United States, I experienced with a lot of women, and outside the country, I experienced with a lot of women. If I was to describe them, oof, man, it would only be in a couple ways. I'll say they're basically like women. Most women in all countries are basically the same. At least the countries. I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody who I don't want to say all countries. Nah, I take that back. I take that back. Women, most women are the same though. It doesn't matter whether you're going to Indonesia, Thailand, uh, United States, Canada, Mexico, Dominican Republic, Colombia. And from my experience, I've been to a few countries in Asia and a few countries in Latin America, and of course the United States. So, just from that perspective, I have some first world, third world Asia, third world Latin America. So I got a little bit of experience to talk about this, but it's just from my point of view. That's it. Like my point of view, man, I feel like the girls are the same. Like a lot of people think like you're gonna go to an Asian country and they're loyal, they treat you good, and et cetera. Like they like to compare it to the American woman. American woman is so masculine, etc. There's a difference actually. Now that I made that point, from my experience, look, you can go to the club. I mean, you can go out, you can meet a girl. She can either be a pro fucker or she could be a really innocent, nice girl. Those two spectrums: the pro fuckers and the innocent, nice, gentle woman. Uh, like I said, it doesn't matter where you meet them. The same type of women exist in almost every fucking country at this point. I mean, some places they get their head blown off or behave in a certain type of way. So I haven't been to those countries, but where when a woman has their freedom to feel the way and do what they want to do, naturally they're going to just, if they're not being judged for it, they're going to behave in a certain type of way. That's just from what I've noticed. So I've been to Bali, and as far as Bali is like the more freer side to where people from Indonesia like to go. Like in Indonesia, there they have their more rural areas, rural parts, poorer parts, and their dream is to basically go to Bali, Indonesia. Yeah, that's where they're more free. They can meet more travelers, more foreigners, and they're less judged for showing their skin. It's a more freer area, much freer than the other parts of that country. And I'll be honest, I met girls there that pro fuckers. I met girls that are good girls. I met girls that are in between. I met girls that got boyfriends from different places around the way, and they'll cheat. And this is in a country where predominantly the women are looked down upon for behaving like that. But there are women like that if you just meet them in a certain area. So if you're in a club, like America, just like America in a sense, if you go to a club and you meet women, don't have too much high hopes of finding your wife in a fucking club. You could end up meeting a good girl in a club, but you shouldn't have any too high hopes. Most women, if they have freedoms and abilities to just do what they want without being judged, they're more likely going to end up just being sliders. That's just, it is what it is. We are not. I no longer believe that the woman is just naturally just not a hoe. Like honestly, if they had the freedom and without being judged, they're going to just be just like us. Just from what I've seen. Like, and you see it's going on in the United States. It's pro choice, pro do what you want, do whatever the fuck you want. And now that they are more comfortable, the more comfortable it has been for someone to do what they want, they're gonna do what they want. That's just, it is what it is with that. I think it's just been the morals that's kept the women from behaving in a certain type of way. As far as just pro promis what's that say? Promiscuity? From being promiscuous. So yeah, hoes exist everywhere. Like if you go to a club in a different this country, you go to a club in that country, you're gonna find you can either meet a pro fucker or an innocent girl or the in between, the shambles of it all. One way or another, you can meet those type of girls. I don't think that because you're in a certain country, that's really gonna not change. Like even for those countries where they punish girls severely for behaving a certain type of way, like I believe those countries changed, became more free and liberal. women will naturally just gravitate towards that way of being. One thing I do notice that from the difference between American girls and it's like women from another country outside of America or outside of the first world countries, it's like the Asians and the Latin Americas, the women. I said this before in another video. Like you can meet a girl and like she'll be a slider, just pro fucker, don't matter, and you can hook up with her and like the next day she's like straightening up or cleaning up, and the whole time she has a whole other boyfriend, but she's fixing your fucking bed as you wake up. It's like, what? Don't you gotta fixing his bed, texting this guy? It's like, okay, so personality's nice, kind, sweet, but at the same time she's a slider, just like any girl from the States. But a girl in the States don't give a fuck. They'll fuck you and then try to dip in the middle of the night if they got a boyfriend and sneak out, or don't even care if you eat or how you feel or nothing. They're ruthless with it. They could detach their emotions to an extent. Some women could do that. So that's what I've noticed from the difference. Like some girls, like too many experiences. And people think like you go overseas, you're gonna the women there are feminine and they're nice, they're gentle, they're kind, they're sweet. They won't disrespect you. They won't try to overstep your boundaries. I can admit that. I've never really had too many experiences with women overseas outside of the United States that try to like be bigger than you or try to outdo you. The whole point, the reason they're even attracted to you is because they feel like you are, to in a sense, above them, and they look up to you. It's part of the sexual attraction. But United States, women can be above you, equal to you, below you, and find sexual attraction to you in some sort of way. It's kind of weird. Some women, they're trying to be dominant. I never even have experience of that though, of someone trying to be overly dominant towards me. But I've seen it on videos and shit like that. So that does exist in the United States. But as far as other countries outside of the United States, I don't really see that shit. So yeah, like that's what I would expect. Like people think like, nah, bitches are sliders out here. Sliders in Colombia, Dominican Republic. Excuse my language calling them bitches, but that's just whenever you can find females that are like that. I don't use that word towards them, but when I'm talking to the guys, I can talk like that a little bit. You can find it in Asia. You can find it. You can find the sliders. They exist. It's not some we don't do that here. Nah, they act like that in all the countries. Easy Johns don't value themselves too much. That exists. Once they feel like they're not going to be judged as much for it, or maybe they'll do it in private. Like a lot of guys think like in America it's like, she follow like 50 guys, or if she only follow like 50 people and got like 100 followers or something like that, she's a good woman or whatever. No. These girls out here have basically all of them have social medias like that, and they could be sliders. Don't get it fooled. Like don't get fooled by that shit. If you ever decide to travel out here, like it's a good woman. Nah. One way you're gonna never know if a girl's a good woman or not. It's just how they behave, or in situations when it really get bad. Only way. So, see, I myself, like I've had my situations with my past partners and my current partner, and I always try to just see the best I can get, test them in certain situations, or not even test, or maybe just see how they react in certain situations. But the only difference I could say really is that they're just more kind, more warm, less cold. The United States is a very cold country. You touch a girl, it's like you can fucking get charged with sexual assault just for touching somebody. But like everyone here is everyone in other countries are very touchy, very warm, very open to meeting people. Very different. They're a much nicer group of people, I would say. Yeah, that's the huge major difference. But if you think that, like, I don't even ramble off and say the same shit. Don't get tricked by it though. So yeah, that's just me talking about the women. I'll say as a guy, outside of, depending on the country you go to, if it's like you're going to more Latin America or Asian country, you can have way more experiences